Welcome back to Sway TV. I'm your host JJ here on Amazon Live, and I'm so excited!
We're gonna have some fun on the street.
What do we do here on Sway TV? We shop.
Here we go, here we go.
Get curious! Get curious!
So many giveaways here at Sway TV. I'm ready to battle shop live! Yeah!
This is fun.
And one person's gonna win a PS5. Which one will it be?
Everyone is holding their breath.
I have our winner.
I'm so excited, I can't even stand it.
I cannot make this up.
We are awarding you with the PS5 as well.
6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
Talk to all your friends and your family. Let them know about Sway TV.
Thank you, Sway TV.
Amazon Live! Woo!
I've had such a great time with all of you.
Shop attainment all the time.
We in the house, we having fun, we doing the thing, we swaying.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway!
Let's sway. Let's sway. Let's sway.
Let's go, let's sway, stay tuned! Woo!
I'm Sally Colon, and you're watching Sally's Book Club, and I am beside myself. I'm verklempt. I don't even have words for today. And the person that's sitting next to me, I will just say this: he has a lot of titles. Number one title for me, he's the hottest man alive.
Wow.
Number one title. But he also happens to be an author, a celebrity happiness coach, an executive coach, and just an all-around really great guy. So please help me welcome to my show, Mr. Rob Mack.
Wow, that was amazing. Sally, you're gonna have to come here more often.
Listen, he's the best. Are you kidding me? He has this book. Actually, I have copies here. He brought me an extra copy. He has this book. It's called Happiness from the Inside Out. And who doesn't want to feel happiness every single day? It's not easy, but Rob, he knows how to get you there, so we're going to talk about that today. And I welcome Sammy. Hi. So Rob is here. Are you excited, Sammy? Where's your mom? Where's everybody? Sammy's one of the children of one of our biggest fans on here, Rosalinda, who I'm sure is going to be here. She said, "Man, how are you?" Anyway.
Love Sammy.
Love Sammy. So I have a million questions, obviously. And just so you guys know, he's been featured on small shows like, Good Morning America, E! News, Access Hollywood. Oh my gosh, so many places. OWN. He was on OWN. Oh my gosh, to the Today Show, and I'm sure many others. I actually first saw you on VH1.
Did you?
Yes.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that.
What was the name of the show you were on?
Well, we did Famously Single on E.
Famously Single, that's the one I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, we
And
did
I
that
remember seeing you on there and going, dang, who is that?
Yeah, he seems crazy.
And then I wasn't saying that. I was like, man, he's hot. And here he is now on my couch next to me. And actually, it's been funny because I've been telling everybody that you're coming.
Yeah.
You're actually my first, in person.
So I'm like
guest.
breaking this couch in.
You're breaking the couch
Myself.
in. All my guests have been on Zoom. I've had Dr. Leaf. I had Dr. Caroline Leaf.
wow.
I had Tim Story. I had Marcus Black last week. But hey, none of them compare
That's right. Let him know. Let him know.
to Rob Mack. Come on, please. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
super, super stoked to be here. So I want to go right into your book.
You are so
Because
amazing.
your book is freaking extraordinary. Just by the way, if you're just tuning in, his book is called Happiness from the Inside Out. It's available on Amazon. So make sure that you guys pick this book up. Are you reading your own book?
I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't
Okay.
like to read my own book.
Okay.
But I will recommend other people do.
Okay, good. So, but you can. This is available on Amazon. Is it in bookstores?
It is. It's in bookstores, Barnes & Noble, online, in bookstores, Amazon, same deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I have a million questions, and they're all my little notes here. Obviously, the first question I want to ask is, what was the purpose? Because there's always a perfect purpose for writing a book. People don't just write a book. So what
Yeah.
was your purpose for this one?
Well, I can tell you it was not to get rich.
Not to get
I knew
rich,
that much.
'cause it's not happening?
No.
Is that why? Okay, got it.
I was disabused of that idea very early in my life.
Yes.
I wrote the book honestly just because I was so unhappy. and I thought I would always be unhappy. And I had discovered some things along the way that helped me be less unhappy.
Okay.
And it initially started out just as a journal. Like I was just tracking like
Oh, wow.
tips and tricks that I was applying in my own life
Okay.
to be happier.
Okay.
And then over time, people started asking me like, Rob, why are you always writing in this little journal?
Aw.
And I started telling people, and they said, oh, you should publish it. And I had never set out to write a book, honestly. It was
Okay.
really just me wanting to be happy. It was a perfectly selfish like
Sometimes
approach.
those are the best books, though.
Right.
The ones that you're not, because I feel like when you set out to do something,
Yeah.
it tends to not be as authentic.
No, you nailed it. You like
Okay.
dilute or compromise your authenticity,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're writing for an audience, a hypothetical one that exists in your head,
Right.
and you leave out parts that you otherwise should include.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so like I'm verklempt because if you could see how you see how gorgeous this man is,
Oh,
but
man.
in person he's even more gorgeous. I need
I
a
love
fan.
you so
Andy,
much.
can you bring me a fan, please?
Sally, you know I love you so much.
All right. I love you too.
Takes one to know.
Thank you. So you said that you wrote the book because you were trying to find your own
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah.
What was going on? Why were you looking for happiness?
You know, I was, I feel like I was born unhappy. Like, you know, my
You
first
were- wait,
memory.
what?
Yeah, it feels that way.
That
Because my
you were
first
born
memory.
unhappy?
I know, but it doesn't seem like a thing.
Wow.
But it's actually a thing. Felt like I was born unhappy.
Okay.
My first memory was just being super stressed out,
Yeah.
anxious, self-loathing, like the whole nine. You know, you always think you'll just grow out of it. I'm like, oh, well, I'll eventually have enough friends or just any friends. I'll eventually make maybe some money. I'll do well athletically. I'll do well academically. And maybe I'll just grow out of it kind of thing. But that didn't happen. As I did better in school and I did better, you know, on the athletic field, it got worse. And I became more and more depressed. And I got to a place where I was just deeply, truly suicidal. I mean, I was thinking about suicide dozens of times a day. I mean, I thought about that more than anything else.
So what happens in those moments where you're feeling depressed and anxious and
Yeah.
stressed out and you're thinking suicidal thoughts? Like, how do you stop yourself from taking your life?
Yeah, at that point, I didn't and I couldn't. I mean, I actually found myself doing research around like the ways to kill yourself. That was my thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started like doing some research, and then I was like, lots of these ways seem really painful. A lot of these other ways seem really violent and dramatic. And so I basically decided, oh, I'm gonna slit my wrist. That'll be my thing.
Whoa.
So
I and this is a very, very serious subject, so
Yeah.
I don't want to like brush past it. I
Yeah.
want to stay here for a minute
Yeah.
because, and I don't want to make this about me, but I understand that because you know my dad.
this is why we connect.
This is
One-
why we connect. I mean, this just happened a year ago, so this is all new to me. I've never been around anyone that's committed suicide, that even talked about really suicide. So for me, having my own father commit suicide was a very, I mean, it took me down for like 6 months to a year, you know, and you were part of conversations with me on it. First of all, I want to say I'm glad that you didn't, because I'm a survivor of someone committing suicide in my own life, and it destroyed me. So just know that you being here helped also the people in your life.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That means everything to me, and I think you know, life is hard, man. Life is hard, you know, and everybody goes through their stuff, challenges, adversity, trials, you know, and you know, we're not taught coping skills. Like
Right.
even as you know, like the things we're taught in school,
Yeah.
it's great, it's fine, but we're not taught basic things like how to be happy, how to regulate
Right.
emotions,
Right.
you know, how to stop thinking at times. And so
Yeah.
it's surprising to me actually that more people aren't suicidal, quite frankly.
I mean, they probably are. They're just not talking about it because it's such a taboo thing to talk
Yeah.
about, right? And I think had my father talked to us and said, "This is how I'm feeling," we probably could have come and done an intervention and helped him. But I want to go back to you and your story. So and I've heard, I interviewed you because this is my second time because I'm
Yeah.
lucky. I get him twice. Okay.
I'm the lucky one.
And I'm gonna bring
True.
him onto Clubhouse for all my Clubhouse fans that are watching right now. I want to bring you onto Clubhouse and
I'm so
do an interview
down.
with you. I've heard your story and it's remarkable. But I know the people watching right now, I want them to know what stopped you. What was that thing, that voice in your head that said, "Don't do this"?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because when I decided that I was going to slit my wrist, I went to the kitchen, got a kitchen, like a steak knife, okay? First one I could grab, and I rammed it into my wrist. I still have the test marks there somewhere, there.
Wow.
And strangely enough, despite nothing changing like in my external circumstances, I mean, I had a pretty good life, quite frankly. Like I had health, my family loved me, I had a good job, I had a beautiful girlfriend, like the whole nine. But I was still unhappy. And so when I went to slit my wrist, for no good reason, without anything in the outside world changing, I just felt this peace and joy and indescribable love
Wow.
just kind of wash over me. Yeah.
What do you think
It
that
was-
was?
I mean, I think of it as divine intervention now.
Okay.
And I think part of what allowed me to experience sort of the grace
Yeah.
of that divine intervention was simply that my mind was, for once in my life, quiet enough to kind of feel what is always and forever there.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I, and the whole interview is not going to be about this because obviously Rob is so much more than that moment in his life. But I want to just say real quickly for the people that are watching right now that if you have those moments, because I feel like we all go down in the dumps. When that happened to my dad, I was down in the dumps. I was in a hole that was so deep that I never thought I could crawl back up. So if you're anybody that's watching right now, if you're feeling this, just know that you're not alone. I mean, I've had those thoughts. Rob, who is a beautiful man inside and out, has had those thoughts. I think sometimes people think that, because they look a certain way, they're from a different culture, they were bullied as kids, that they're the only ones that struggle with stuff like this, but it's anybody.
Yeah.
So if you have those feelings right now, just know that you're not alone. Just know that there's people out there that are happy and willing to talk to you. Make sure that you talk to friends. Don't do it, allow people to come into, and you know what, I'm gonna take that back. I'm not gonna tell you not to do it, but I'm gonna tell you that there's people out there that can help you. So I just wanted to say that before we move on with this interview, that there are people there that love you and that would love to hear why you're feeling these feelings. And I don't know if you want to add anything.
And we're both one of those people, right? We're each one of those people.
Definitely are. Absolutely.
Like, and the interesting thing about my experience and why I get so excited just to connect with you and share with your audience and stuff is that, that experience led me to such a fulfilling and purpose-driven and passionate life,
So
like one I wouldn't have ever imagined was possible, quite
Yeah.
frankly. It didn't happen all at once, but in that moment when I was like, this is strange, why am I feeling all this joy and
Right.
peace in the moment? I decided that I was going to postpone the suicide for like an hour. That was it.
Wow.
It was like 1 hour. And
Yes.
even that hour, that was like super tall, ambitious order and feat at the time. I wasn't even convinced that I could make it an entire hour. Wow. Right? But so I postponed for an hour and I just started doing a little research, and then I found that there were like a lot more people in the world that were experiencing what I was experiencing
Right.
than I was aware of. And I also realized there were some really smart people that had solved for it. So that led me down an entirely different path.
Okay.
But had I not had this experience around the depression and suicidal ideation and suicidal experience, I would not be in the position I am today to be able to offer any help to anyone.
That's amazing. And listen, if you're just joining us right now, I have this beautiful man on our show today. His name is Rob Mack, and he has a book called Happiness from the Inside Out. He's a life coach to celebrities, happiness life coach to celebrities, executive life coach. He's an author. He's a host. He's just an amazing person inside and out. He's a personal friend of mine. Can I call you a personal
That's the
friend?
best part of all.
Okay, he's a
That's the
personal
best
friend.
one. Are you kidding? Absolutely.
I love Rob. I've
Yeah.
known Rob for many years, and he's just an amazing, amazing man. So I want to get in a little bit into your book. So we talked about the purpose of writing this book, and I love what you said. Do you, and you say, talk a little bit about this in your book, but do you think that anyone is psychologically normal?
Great point. We have this. I love that you make this. This is why you're so great, Sally. Like, it's funny. There's a joke sort of in the scientific community, which is like, here's how you describe statistics or like averages: is that you've got like half of your body in scalding hot water and the other half in freezing cold water, and then you call yourself like room temperature or average,
Okay,
right?
okay.
And so you're right. You're absolutely right. There's statistical like normal, being statistically normal really doesn't exist, right? I mean, that's kind of an awkward and funny term that we use to describe, scientific findings or phenomenon, but really none of us,
Right?
yes, have
Okay.
2.2 kids
Okay.
or whatever it is,
Okay.
right? Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Because, so you're going to laugh,
Yeah.
maybe. About 6 years ago when I was still married, my girlfriends and I used to always laugh because we're like, people say that there's only 15% of people in the world that are normal.
Yeah, okay.
I've heard that. I
Yeah.
don't know what you've heard.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're definitely in that 15% because, oh my gosh, people in the world are crazy, right? Then I got divorced. Then I started going to therapy. And then I realized how unnormal I was.
Yeah.
and how crazy in so many ways
Yeah.
I was. And so now I don't think that anymore.
I love that. And,
I don't think that anymore.
And honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, and this is not to knock normal, and yet normal's kind of boring.
Normal's a little boring.
Like,
I
it's the craziness of life that makes it so interesting
Right.
and makes it worth
Yeah.
continuing to live.
Yes.
I think we've all done a lot of normal, and normal can get, real boring real quick.
Yeah.
And I think if you talk long enough to anyone, even the most seemingly normal person, you'll realize that they are abnormal in countless ways.
Right.
Right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I always heard this, when you squeeze somebody, the real person comes out.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Right? So I love squeeze. My friends know that if they're friends of mine, I'm going to squeeze them.
Yeah.
And I expect them to squeeze me as well.
Yeah.
I do not hang around with yes people.
Oh.
I refuse to do that because I feel like I'm never going to grow if I do that.
Oh.
What's your thought about that?
Well, what do you mean by yes people?
People that tell you what you want to hear.
Oh, I don't mind. You can tell me what I want to hear. It's fine. I don't have any objections.
Wait, let's talk about that, because see, I think complete opposite.
Yeah.
But tell me about that.
Well,
do you not hang out with people that will tell you straight up, Rob?
I don't really to be honest with you, I don't really put a whole lot of, or any really of my happiness in when anybody else is telling me or doing. I just don't.
Okay.
I let them say what they're saying.
Okay.
I take it for face value in the moment, and then I go about my life. Now, there's a great author you're probably familiar with. I know you are. You read a lot.
Yes.
Is Byron Katie.
Nope.
She says, okay, so she says something really
But
interesting.
she's on my radar now.
There.
And I'm going to download
I know,
her
that's what I
book
mean.
as
I
soon
know.
as I'm out of here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So Byron Katie said something interesting one time, which I totally love. And she said essentially that she's like, I don't trust people. I trust myself. I trust people to do what they do. Okay. I don't trust them to do what I want them to do. I trust them to do
I
what they
love
want
that.
to do. Right.
I get that so
Yeah.
well. I get that
Right.
so well.
Exactly. So it's like you give them. That's another way. I think one of our mutual friends there, Andy, he's said something before I found interesting too, which is try not to loan people money. Give them money. If they give it back, that's when I call it a loan.
I've heard him say that.
Yeah. Right.
That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Okay, so I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm right here
Yeah.
with you on that.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of times people, their own perspective, they'll try to put on you.
That's
So
right.
I do get that.
Yeah.
I do have a best friend. Her name is Cindy Diane. We've been best friends for about 23 years. She's also a mom. She also has kids. And what I do, she never gives an opinion about me.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
But I go to her because I trust her with my life.
Oh, wow.
She's the one.
Yeah.
I have one person like that in my life. I have other friends that are very close. Felicia is one of my close. Eden, Sherry. I do have Michelle. I do have other girlfriends. But she's the only one that I let speak into my life.
I feel that.
Because number one, she's Christian like I am. We have the same beliefs. But also, I go to her and say, listen, this happened today. What do you think I could have done differently? Because I
that.
trust her.
Yeah.
And she'll always say to me, first of all, don't kick yourself in the butt. You were fine. What I would have done differently was this, but you're welcome to take that or not take it.
Love it.
So that I believe in. But what you're saying, I think what you do is great.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I love what you're and I completely love what you're saying. And
Yeah.
this is the challenge and the opportunity with life. There's value in everything.
Yeah.
There's literally value in everything. There's nothing you can't find some value in.
Yes.
And I have found incredible value in people who happen to agree with me. And I
Yes.
have found incredible value in people that totally
Yes.
disagree with
Yes,
me.
yes, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And sometimes it's not that they disagree with me and then I find that I agree with them later.
Right.
It's that they disagree with me and sometimes it helps me to double down on my own beliefs in a more authentic way.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna.
Right?
First of all, I was gonna say that, but not as beautifully
Yeah.
as you
Good.
just said it.
You would have. Yeah.
No, I would not have.
Yeah.
You're way better
Yeah.
wordsman than
Yeah.
I am.
Oh.
But I will say this: I was just gonna say there are friends in my life that they'll say something or disagree with me, and I won't agree with
Yeah.
their disagreement.
Yeah.
But it'll help me to realize what kind of friend they are.
See, exactly.
Two.
And you're highlighting something else, Sally, which is
Yeah.
just so incredible, which is that we can disagree,
Yes.
but can we disagree without being disagreeable?
Yes.
Right?
Ooh.
It's the disagreeable
Ooh, I like
people
that.
I don't really
I like
want
that.
to, I don't want to mess with those people. You know what I'm saying?
It's the
You could-
disagreeable. I love that you just said that.
Yeah, because some people are just disagreeable, and they can't.
That's true.
There's a way to express your opinion
Yes.
in a way that supports the relationship and enhances the relationship and enriches the relationship, even if you disagree. And then there's a way to destroy the relationship, even when you agree, by just simply being a disagreeable or toxic or unhealthy or unhappy
Wow.
person.
That's
right?
amazing.
So I think it's more about the energy you bring.
No, I'm thinking about some friends in my life that I'm like,
Uh-oh.
I might be giving them a call. Anyway, so
Hope I'm
if you're
on.
just joining us here on Sway TV on Amazon Live, I am with the beautiful Rob Mack. He has a book called Happiness from the Inside Out. It's available on Amazon and bookstores near you. And also make sure that you guys check out our carousel because we have some lovely items down there, including Rob's book. So make sure that you guys pick that up on Amazon today. We have some really great things. We actually, like, I don't know, you're an Amazon shopper.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding?
All the time, all day long.
Yeah, I should just send them a check every month.
Every month.
Yeah.
I do too. But we have all kinds of fun stuff. Do you cook at all?
I heat up really well.
You
I
heat
warm
up-
things up
Okay.
beautifully. You'd be
Okay,
surprised.
so like a fryer would be?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, there's a fryer in our
Okay.
carousel, so you guys check out the fryer. What about a massager? Are you into like massages?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so we have this massager that I'm obsessed with. It's by Zillion, and I'm trying to get them to sponsor my show. So can you tell them why it's so important for them to sponsor my show?
Oh my goodness, because honestly,
Thank you.
Sally, and I say this with the utmost authenticity and sincerity, you are exactly in real life what you are right here on the screen, and consistently for years now, and I mean that, and not just that, but like you also, I think, bring, at least to my life and everybody's life that you touch, a heartfelt, kind, caring, compassionate, and intellectually stimulating experience. Consistently, you do. I had the most incredible and the deepest conversations with you ever. Right?
And I
Yeah.
feel the same.
I will receive
You know,
that.
when you and I
Yeah.
get together, it's so thoughtful,
It
and,
is,
and we
it's-
both listen very well.
Yeah.
And we love each other. Like, he's my soul brother. I love him so
Yeah,
much.
it's completely genuine. It really is.
you.
And you have done the work, and you have done the work, and
Thank
you have
you.
done the work.
Yes, I
Like,
have.
So it's like,
I will agree with
yeah,
that.
you're not just talking a hot game. You're like living a hot game, you know?
And
The
you've
difference.
done the work too.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
you're
yeah.
amazing. So this massage, not to take it off of me, because trust me, I like when he tells me these beautiful things. But this massager, you can actually plug this into your car on road trips.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's massage, but there's also heat.
So if you live in LA or any major city,
Yeah.
you're gonna definitely need
You're
that.
going to need this because in LA, we're driving at least 45 minutes to get anywhere, 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
So Zillion puts this out. This is in our cart. Make sure you guys pick this up. This is actually one of my favorite items in our carousel. So
Oh.
back to Rob's book. If you're just joining us,
Cool.
Rob Mack, one of my favorite people on the planet, has a book. It's called Happiness from the Inside Out. It's available on Amazon. It's also in the carousel. So we're going to continue on with our interview. And wait, where can people find you in case people jump off of here?
Oh yeah, sure. You can find me at my website, which is coachrobmack.com.
Okay.
And you can find me on all social media platforms, most notably and consistently Instagram.
Okay.
At Rob Mack Official.
Okay, and if you guys want to see what's behind this shirt,
Oh, there it is.
there are a couple pictures that Rob posted that I was like salivating over without a shirt. So make sure you check that out. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
I love you. Truly love you.
So back to the book. Okay, so tell me what brings you happiness.
Yeah. A quiet mind. I mean, honestly, it's like there's no happiness like no mind.
Hang on. There's no happiness
Like
like
no
no
mind.
mind. So
Yeah.
shutting off your mind?
Yeah, yes. No
Okay.
question. And
Okay.
I'm the last person, probably least likely person to say that, but because I'm an overthinker, overanalyzer.
Are you really?
Oh my goodness,
Okay.
to the 19th degree,
Okay,
right?
got it. Good
Like
to know.
exponential, yes. And for that reason, I've discovered how much time, energy, and effort I've spent trying to be happy by routing it through all these other people, things, activities, and that's just the long scenic route. And when you can simply learn to quiet your mind, it's incredible the unlimited and infinite and seemingly eternal happiness that exists there all along. So for me, that's number one.
Okay.
Sometimes I find that exercise helps me get into that kind of flow state.
You love to exercise.
Love to exercise. Yeah.
Yes, you do. But what are some other? I want to
Other
know like the
things.
down and dirty.
Oh yeah, so I
Like
love.
what kind of food do you love?
Oh.
Where do you like to travel?
Oh,
like,
okay.
give me like I want to know about Rob.
Oh, okay. So this is a
let's
dating
get to know
segment
Rob.
here.
This
Yeah.
is a dating section. Are you single by the way?
I have.
Oh my God, he's single!
I love being single.
Oh, so we're gonna be talking after. No, I'm
Yes,
joking. I'm
yes,
joking.
yes, yes.
I'm probably not even Rob's type. Am I?
Oh my gosh, of course you are.
Shut up,
What do you
stop
got?
it,
You're
stop
deep,
it.
you're beautiful, you're brilliant.
Okay, we're gonna talk later.
Yes.
So he's not single anymore. No, I'm joking. No, but Rob is single and he's absolutely beautiful and happy from the inside out. Seriously. But okay, so since
Yeah.
you went there,
Yeah.
because you did,
Yeah.
give me top 5 things you look for in a woman.
First thing is kindness.
Okay.
Genuinely, that's huge.
Check.
Yeah, check, exactly. Open-mindedness and open-heartedness, check. Definitely, of course, someone who's beautiful on the outside and really on the inside. Like I think that I have met women before that people would say, oh, she's beautiful, but not in a traditional way. But because their heart is so open and their mind is so open and so kind, they're just the most attractive person on the planet.
I agree.
Right?
Yep.
So I'd say that. Also someone who's on some kind of path of, we can call it like personal development or personal growth. That's just key. That might even be the most important one. And then also as part of that, someone who is happy or at least aspiring to be happy. Like there's nothing worse than someone who doesn't even have an intention of being happy, right? Like they're not even. So I'd say that those are the most important things to me, by far.
And then can we be a little superficial?
Yeah,
Okay.
please do.
Look-wise,
Yes.
hair color, eye color, how tall, what culture?
So
give me a little bit of
this
that.
is a problem for me. I just like hot.
I
just like hot,
got
and
it,
that
got
comes
it.
in so many different forms. I
Yes.
mean, I really have tried to say, oh, this is my type, and every day I'm, surprised by the ways in which I'm wrong about that. Like it's not, there's no hair color, there's no, I've literally like fallen in love probably, or at least felt connected to and found attractive when with all hair colors, all skin colors, all, all the things. And so it's kind of a problem because it's a paradox of choice issue.
Right.
But I love it. It's truly the way I feel.
I mean, I check off all those. So why?
You do.
You do. What's happening?
I don't know. That's why we're sitting on the couch right
Get
now.
uncomfortable for a minute here.
Exactly.
I'm obsessed with this man,
Exactly.
like fully. So I'm like, I check all that off. Like, why haven't we? But
you know,
anyway, that's a whole other conversation we might.
The
have
flip
to
side of this is, and you know this, I'm a very difficult person. Like I'm not an easy person.
Why do you think you're difficult?
Because I love my freedom, and I also give a ton of freedom.
Okay.
And I don't get jealous. I really don't. I've had to work on that a lot in my life. I don't get jealous. That can make people feel very uncomfortable, right? Sometimes they like feeling a little jealousy because that means that you
They
care.
feel loved more.
Yes.
They feel cared for. Yeah. I
You
get
know,
that.
I'm also I work a ton.
Okay.
And I have a very disciplined schedule, and I can deviate from it, but not that much.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's annoying to people. It's annoying.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if a
Yeah.
woman comes along and she's okay with all of that,
Yeah.
right? She's like, I'm fine. I'm busy too.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time for you either. I'm not jealous either. I'm serious.
Yeah.
She comes along. She's a perfect woman.
Yeah.
Do you feel, and
Yeah.
be honest,
Yeah.
well, you're always going to be honest. Do you feel like if you fall in love with that person, so obviously that's the initial attraction, but then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you start to really fall in love with her because she has everything you've ever looked for, would you be willing to maybe adjust a little bit because of
Oh, for sure.
love?
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
And I've done it before. And I would absolutely. I've definitely adjust. And I think that the key for me is that there's like a couple, just those top 3 or 4 things in my life. It's like I'm gonna have to always, probably always gonna be working at something because it's who I am. I'm probably always gonna find a lot of time to read and exercise. And as long as those 3 things are always part of the deal, I'm good. And I'm also not willing to probably move to somewhere cold.
Okay,
I've discovered
I'm
that's
with
probably
you on
my-
that.
Oh, yeah.
No,
see?
I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm here now for a reason. And then my last question about this, and then we'll move on because I
Yeah.
know, are you uncomfortable
This
at
is-
all?
no, I
You're
don't.
okay?
No,
All
it's gonna take a lot to get.
Is do you want to have kids?
Yeah. So I don't. I am a kid.
Got it.
So
you want to
know?
be the only kid in the relationship?
Yeah,
Got it.
I'm pretty good on it.
Okay.
I'm good on the kid thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so there it is, ladies. If you're willing and available, no, I'm joking. His number is 555.
Exactly.
Okay. So anyway, no, but you're
Thank
such
you.
a catch. You're such a
You
catch,
are the best.
I can't wait to meet that girl that you finally. I don't want to say settle because you're
Yeah.
not settling. That finally you.
I thought I
find she
did,
finds
Sally. I
you.
don't know what's happening here.
I mean,
are you
I'm right
backing
here,
out
babe.
of the? You're backing out of the
Listen,
deal.
I'm like fully in love with you. Like, no, I love Rob, and
That's
I'm
so true.
If
That
Rob,
feeling's mutual.
listen, to be real,
Yeah.
if Rob came to me one day and said, Sally, I want to take you out, I'd be like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, where are we going? Like, this man's amazing. He's
Wow.
perfect in every way. I'm single, he's single. I'm right here.
I love that.
So you
I love
call
that.
me.
Okay, that's a deal. Yeah, I got your number. You better watch out. You're
Call
like,
me.
oh man.
I'm not even joking. Okay, here we go. now,
do
it's
it.
now I'm blushing. Okay, so let's talk about the 8 principles that you talk about in your book.
Yeah.
And your hands are so cold.
I
Can we
know.
just-
Cold
can I
hands,
just hold
warm
your
heart.
hand? Let me just hold your hand throughout this
Yeah.
interview. No,
There you
I'm
go.
joking. I'm joking.
Warm 'em up.
No, eight principles that you have in your book.
Yes.
Let's talk about
yeah.
that.
Okay. So the main principle for me is like lazy intelligence. So that's like
Wow.
the main thing I think for me.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So lazy intelligence is basically the idea that you can get equal or better results in any and every area of your life.
Okay.
With less time, energy, and effort, right? So like, whatever it is you want to accomplish, whether it's happiness, whether it's success, whether it's more money, whether it is something simple like, the food you eat.
Okay.
There is always a way to get equal or better results with way less time, energy, and effort. And so part of the challenge and the opportunity with happiness is to remember that and then to stop routing your happiness through middle people, middle women, middle activities, but instead go directly to the source for it.
Okay.
Right?
So smarter, not harder is what I'm
That's
hearing.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So it's all about energy conservation.
Perfect. That's number one. Give me number two.
So another principle that I'm like a big proponent of is like sort of starting with low-hanging fruit, right? So like there are things now.
That's an interesting that's
It
an
is.
interesting word.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And I worked in the consulting world for a while, so that was a big
Yes, it is.
term that
In
we
that
use a
world,
lot.
in the marketing world, in the advertising world, that's a big thing. Yeah.
But the idea essentially is to start where it's easy, right? So there are things now that we all know that we love doing, that make us happy, that we feel energized for having done. And so you want to start with those things. Just make a list of those things. Okay, we can call those your happiness islands.
I love that.
Right?
Okay.
You also know, on the other side of that coin, things that you just hate doing it, no matter how much of it you do or how little of it you do, you feel drained by or you just don't enjoy. So those are happiness valleys. So you want to track those. And the whole idea is that you want to outsource, delegate, reduce, eliminate, automate, or regulate all your valleys.
Okay.
And you want to spend as much time on your happiness islands as you can.
I love that. By the way, we're going to continue going on with the 8 principles, but just know that that is in his book.
Yes.
And if you're just joining us, make sure you check out his book. It's in our carousel and it's on Amazon and books near you. So we're going to go to number 3 principle.
Yes. So that so the first piece really is about energy conservation. The second part is all about really happy things, happy activities. The third part really is about happy people, right? So it's so much easier to be happy when you're with happy people, or at least people aspire to be happy, right?
Absolutely.
So you want to do what you can to sort of spend more time with happy people.
Because you know what? People can either bring you up or they can bring you down.
Truth.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Exactly.
Like when I'm with you, I'm always happy.
Yeah,
And
likewise.
and I think it's because you're happy and you're not willing to give that up.
No, I'm way more selfish than that. Like I really am. Like I'm not willing to waver on that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like you're not willing to not be happy. And I will say this before we move on to number 4. We're on number 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that I have found my happy in the last 5 years. 4 years. I'll say 4 years, right after my divorce.
Yeah.
And a lot of it had to do with me finding myself and learning to be happy within myself and not trying to please other people to control how they feel about me.
That's a huge piece. I love you saying that because you're right. I think lots of people who struggle with happiness are people pleasers.
People pleasers.
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you said that. So if you find yourself to be a people pleaser, listen, we all tend to be that way a little bit, but find out why you're being that way. Are you trying to please somebody to control how they feel about you because you don't feel like you're good enough to be around them? So when because I took a boundaries class, Townsend and Cloud.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read their book, it's called Boundaries. They have boundaries for couples, boundaries for kids, boundaries. Because listen, you need to set boundaries with your kids.
That's oh wow.
You don't have
Truth.
kids, but I will tell you
Truth.
right now, most parents have codependent relationships with their kids, and they're all about wanting to please their kids. So make sure you set boundaries with your kids, and don't be afraid to disappoint your children. Sometimes you have to disappoint them because you don't always want to try to please your kids so they can be your buddies.
That's
so anyway,
right.
that's a whole nother
That's
tangent.
big, Sally.
But thank you, because I'm a mom. Thank you. Gina's here. Johnny, hey Johnny. Excellent book by Robert Mack. You can tell Robert has walked his talk.
Johnny.
Johnny.
Loving Johnny right
Johnny's
now, brother.
from Japan, right? Am I getting that right?
So appreciate you, Johnny.
An entire genre for me. Yeah, so make sure you pick up the book because it's an incredible book. Johnny Kong says, hello, Rob and Sally. I know that, Gina, I missed your comment, but I know Gina's here too. Thank you guys always for coming in and saying hi to us. He's in the New York zone. Okay, so we're going to continue on with principle number 4. And if you're just tuning in, we are with Rob Mack. This is his book, Happiness from the Inside Out, and it's available on Amazon and bookstores near you. And he's going through some of the principles of being happy.
That's right.
Okay, we're on number 4.
Yes, I want to underscore one thing you said though, because it was so powerful, Sally, and so poignant, which is
I
around
am pretty powerful.
You are.
pretty
You
good.
are. Truth. Listen.
You're sweet.
Facts. Okay.
Thank
And so this people pleasing thing, like I remember part of the realization and recognition around people pleasing for me was sort of understanding or coming to see that even though I felt and thought it was about pleasing other people, it was actually just that I wanted to feel good and comfortable in my own skin, right? And I wanted them to be happy with me. And so even though there was part of me that felt like, oh, this is an altruistic thing I'm doing. I'm helping people, I'm supporting people, I'm pleasing these other people. Really down deep inside, I had to be honest and say, you know what? Actually, I just want to please them so they're happy with me so that I can be happy. Right? So it was a little bit manipulative. Sometimes it's a little manipulative,
I
right?
agree with that.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally, I agree
So
with that.
it's you know, instead of trying to stand on your head in 7 billion ways to please all 7 billion people, just please yourself.
Yes.
And then I promise, in your happiness, you will have happiness to share, and it's
Yes.
much easier to please people when you're happy.
By the way, it's
Yeah.
8 billion people now.
8
I
billion
don't know if you
people.
know
I
that.
missed a billion.
And this is why I know, because my daughter and I, we were trying to figure out, because I'm Christian, you know,
Yes.
Christian. My father was a pastor. We were trying to figure out how many Christians there were in the world, and it was 2.75 billion Christians in the world, and there's 7.94 billion people in the world. Somewhere around there.
I love this. Is
So
profound.
there's a lot of people
8
coming into our world.
Right?
Yes.
So-
A lot of babies being made.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So now we're on principle number
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, 4 or 5,
Four,
somewhere around
four,
there,
four, four.
roughly.
Okay.
Right, roughly. It
So
doesn't
much
matter.
to talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, after happy activities and then happy people, it's really about happy thinking and happy thoughts, right? So, yes.
Yes.
So the key there is really, here's the truth of it. The truth of it is that you'll never know what the truth of any particular situation really is. You might have a fact or
Right.
two,
Yes.
but situations, people, circumstances are always changing and evolving. And instead of vetting thoughts based on whether or not they're true, vet them based on whether or not they're helpful, whether they're
that's
supportive.
good.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you go down the trap of it's true, so I'll focus on it and think about it, you'll be down all kinds of rabbit holes
Absolutely.
that make you miserable.
Right.
Right.
And one person's truth is a different person's
Exactly.
truth. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Exactly. Then you argue about the truth.
Right.
Meanwhile, I'd rather just be happy.
Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
you know. So that's about telling a better feeling story based in truth.
Okay.
Right. So whatever it is in your life, no matter what it is, there's always more than one way to look at it. There's a supportive way of looking at it, and there's an unsupportive way of looking at it.
Absolutely.
So just choose the more constructive explanation.
I'm learning so much right now.
You could teach. You could teach all
No,
this
I
stuff.
can't, I can't teach about certain
Yeah.
things, but I'm definitely learning things that I haven't heard before. So
Yeah.
thank you for imparting. So number 5.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say
Yes.
about that too is that one of the challenges and struggles that people have with happiness is they feel like, well, I want to be successful too, though, Rob. I don't want to just be happy. Does that mean I have to trade happiness for success and vice versa? And the one thing that positive psychology has brought to this conversation, one of the many things, is that happy people experience more success in their lives. So happy people
Makes
are more
sense.
successful, right?
Yeah.
So they live 6 to 7 years longer on average. They make $600,000 to $700,000 more on average over the course of their lifetime. They get married earlier, stay married longer, are happier in all their relationships, whether they're married or
That
not.
makes so much sense though.
Yes, exactly. So the whole point is, if you can get happy without all this stuff for the people you want,
Wow.
it helps to pre-pave a path to getting all this stuff and the people you want.
Okay, so
Right?
let's stop there because
Yeah.
that's a really, I think the culmination of everything that we're talking about
Yeah.
today leads us to this point that
This
you
is
just
right.
said. And that's if you are happy, things in your life tend to go better.
That's absolutely.
So whether it's your career, whether it's your friendships, your family, your kids, love, right? If you're happy, it's like happiness follows you everywhere you go.
That's right.
And people, listen, when you walk into a room, people can read you
Oh,
immediately. If you walk in the room and your head is down, people are going to know you're going through something, and that's the way they're going to treat you.
that's right.
You walk into the room with self-confidence and happiness and joy, that's the way they're going to treat you.
Truth. I mean, that is just so powerful. It's emotional contagion. It's a real thing. You go look
I
it
love
up.
that.
Yeah, it's
I
emotional
love that.
contagion, right? And we know that that emotion is more contagious than anything else on the entire planet because you can pass emotion through a cell phone, through a social media post.
Very true.
You can post
Through
it.
Zoom
Yeah,
these
through
days.
Zoom. Burn out from Zoom, but
Burn
through
out from
Zoom.
Zoom, yeah.
Like
Exactly.
you can pass emotion through a glance across a room.
Right.
Right. So emotion is extraordinarily contagious, and it's also extraordinarily infectious.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
you want to kind of keep that front and center. That happiness will lead to increasing success in your life, and increasingly authentic success.
Absolutely. You can also pass happiness and emotion through a book.
Ah.
This book. So make sure if you haven't picked up this book and you're just joining us, we're with Rob Mack. He's just the best. I just love him. I'm
You're
just
so
learning,
good at this.
I'm learning
So.
so much. And this book is available on Amazon and in bookstores. And if you want to get your happy, you've never had your happy, or you need to get your happy back, this is the book for you. So make sure you guys download it. It's in our cart. Okay, so now we're going to do
You're
number...
so good at this, Al.
Thank you. You're so
I was saying-
sweet. No.
That's
Okay,
right.
so are we going to number 5?
Yeah. So number 5. So I would say that in the book I talk a lot about relationships. Like relationships are like. There's a movie called The 36 Chambers, but
I don't know that one.
Oh yeah, it's
Where is
basically
it? What
it's
is it? Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's old school.
Okay,
It's like a kung fu
okay.
movie,
I'll check it out.
and like the whole point is that in the movie they basically train to get to a place where they're finally at the like most difficult obstacle of all. And I refer to that as relationships. Relationships are like everything else that you work your life to do. Ultimately, relationships are one of the most challenging areas of our lives, and that's why this divorce rate is so high and all these things. And happiness is a huge master key to all of that, right? Like if the happiest relationships consist of two independently happy people, right? But what you often find is that I make you responsible for my happiness, you make me responsible for yours.
That's an issue.
Yes.
That's an issue.
And then we've got a codependent relationship.
Absolutely.
And now we're blaming each other for unhappiness. But that's actually not the truth of it. The truth of it is that whatever it is that I'm experiencing is because of the thoughts I have in my head and the feelings and emotions I have in my heart about what you're saying or doing.
Absolutely.
Right? So
I want to go to codependency, and I want you to define it a little bit, just what you know about it. But before we do that, I do want to say this. I'm gonna be giving away a book. I'm actually gonna give someone, a lucky winner, this book. And here's how you're gonna win. First of all, I want you guys really listening and taking everything in, because this interview is so extraordinary. It's life-changing. The information that Rob is giving right now is really going to change your life if you're listening. I would take notes if you can, but this is the way I'm going to give the book away. I'm going to ask a question at the end. So it's going to be kind of like school, right? I'm going to be like the teacher. I'm going to ask a question at the end, and whoever comes up with the answer, and I won't make it a hard question, but if you're listening, it's going to be easy, right? So if you, and you know what? Should we, okay, first person to call in? Okay, perfect. So this is what we're going to do, because we have a call in, but we're not going to do it right now because it's 2:20. We're going to go another, you good with another 25, 30 minutes?
Of course, I'm here for you.
Yay! Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a phone call at the end of this interview. So obviously you guys have to be here to win, but we're going to can we give away 2 books? Is that okay? We're going to give 2 books away, because these books are extraordinary and they have to be in the hands of everyone, okay? But if you don't win, please pick it up anyway. So what's gonna happen is we're at the end of the show, like in about 20 minutes, we're gonna take the first caller to answer the question correctly. So if you call in and you don't have the answer, then we're gonna hang up and we're gonna go to the next caller. So what's gonna happen is producer Andy will put the phone number up on the screen when we're ready, and then all you have to do is call in, and you can actually talk to us live.
Yes,
and if you have a question for Rob, you get him live.
I love that.
Where else can you have that except for Sally's Book Club? Come on, right here on Sway TV. So make sure that you tell all your friends to tune in. Text 5 of your friends and say, hey, you have to be here for this interview. It's incredible. All right, so we're going to keep on moving. Yeah. But I wanted to give a couple books away. Because come on, people have to have this book in their arsenal of books. Okay, so we're number 6.
Yes. Yeah, so this 36 chambers thing. So, part of the codependency, challenge for most of us is that we make each other responsible for our happiness, and we ask each other to regulate our emotions for us.
Okay.
Right? So when you did this thing, I felt this way, and I need you to do things differently in order for me to feel differently. But that's extraordinarily problematic.
That's a lot to ask.
It's a whole lot to ask, right?
Dang!
Yes, exactly.
Woo.
Truly. So, the challenge is to sort of take back your power instead of giving it away by regulating yourself and by, emotionally regulating yourself. And that requires some practice and some time. But it starts with just learning to, first of all, notice what you feel, not judge what you feel, right? Take responsibility for it, and then do what you can to sort of soothe yourself back off this emotional scale.
Right.
But again, it takes a little bit of coaching, a little bit of practice.
Yes. Well, I will say this. 2 things I want to say. Yeah. Number 1, my therapist calls that expose yourself to that feeling.
Oh, yeah.
So when I would go through, I feel anxious, or and I still see my therapist. Not as much now because I've learned a lot from her. She's amazing. Dr. Walia, I love you. She changed my life with a lot of other things. But one of the things when I would get anxiety, she would say, why are you feeling this way? And I said, I don't know. She goes, you have to expose yourself to the feeling. Yeah. What triggered that feeling, and what is that? Call it name it. You know what I mean? So that was one thing she said to me. But I will say, going back to codependency, because I learned about codependency in my marriage. So I was extremely codependent. And I didn't even know what codependency was, by the way.
Explain it to folks maybe a little.
So for me, I needed him to make me feel a certain way. And if he couldn't do that, I would get triggered by him. So I expected a lot from him. I had very high expectations, and I would want him to react to me in a certain way that he just didn't have it in him.
Yes, that's
So
right.
then I would get really upset.
Oh,
And then it would trigger me, and then I would treat him a certain way. Because that's what I saw my parents do. That's how my mom was. It was learned behavior. But I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. All I was doing was looking for someone to love me in a deep way that I didn't get when I was a child. So unfortunately for him,
yeah.
I mean, I was a great wife, you know, in other ways I was. I was a great cook. I kept the house clean. I was a great mom, all those things. But because of my learned behavior from my mom and never going to therapy and learning, I had to, after we got divorced, I had to apologize to him. I did, because I realized some of the things, I knew what my part was after a year of therapy, and I went and apologized to him.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's powerful.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy. Trust
Yeah,
me, he
yeah.
didn't apologize back.
Yeah, no. It was
But
just
it's
a one-sided-
okay because
yeah.
I did my part.
Yeah.
But
See,
go
that's
ahead.
amazing. I just
Yeah.
want to say something there. Like, you said so much there, and there's impossible to unpack it all in like 20 minutes or even
Yeah.
20 hours.
I can hear you guys, by the way. We're trying to do an interview over here. Hello.
we got a studio audience.
Okay.
What's amazing to me is like your recognition and your awareness around something, which I want to point out, which is like it's really easy to expect everybody to be able to do calculus. But if most of us haven't been taught simple arithmetic,
Right.
it's actually impossible. Okay,
Right.
it's actually
I agree.
impossible.
I agree.
And we just think, oh, it's so easy. Well, maybe we've done it.
Right,
And then we
right.
think everybody else should do it. But most of us aren't taught this simple mathematics or arithmetic of emotion
Right.
or of cognition,
Yes.
right? Or any of these things. And
Yes.
so when we get in a relationship and we suddenly expect the other person to be different, or even
Yes.
expect ourselves to be different,
Yeah.
when we don't actually have the skills or the fundamental ability to be able to do it, it's really asking the impossible,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
so much of what happens in the context of relationships, whether they're friendships or
Yeah.
professional or platonic relationships, is that we are imposing our expectations
Yes.
of what somebody else should be and do and say on them,
Yes.
and then we're disappointed with them when
Yes.
all along they were our own expectations.
Yes.
Right?
It's
and
so
so
true.
I think that's part of the challenge is that, like, you know, you can't go to the hardware store for milk.
Ooh, come on.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm gonna steal
exactly.
that. You know
Yeah,
I'm
it's good.
stealing that.
Yes.
You know I'm stealing
Yeah,
that.
we always try to
Okay.
do that, you know?
Okay, I
Yeah.
love that. So I will say this, if and we'll move on for this, but if in the place where I was in my life when I was married, and I think this is true, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. I feel like when I did have my reactions or triggers to some of the things he said or did to me, if he would have put his hand on my hand and said, "Is everything okay? Do you want to talk about it?" I think we would maybe still be married.
Yes. Yes.
So I will say that.
I can totally appreciate that.
Okay.
And this is the challenge. The challenge is to not only do that, but to do it authentically.
Authentically.
Right? Like
Yes.
there's
And
a lot
not like, no, I know
Yeah.
the other side.
Yeah, right?
I know the other
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
but no, go ahead.
And to get to a place where you can do it authentically actually takes a lot of work.
It does.
It takes a lot of work to actually mean it when you say it.
Yeah.
Like you have to really have processed some things and worked through some things and learned some things and applied some things
Yes.
to actually get to that place.
Yeah.
So like a lot happens in a lot of relationships. If they would just do this one thing,
Right.
it would all be. But it's like in order for them to do that one thing,
Yeah.
that might be 10 years of therapy.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
And if they haven't done it, it's probably because they're not going to do it because they don't even know that they're supposed to do it or have the capability.
Right.
To do it.
Exactly. Or
Right.
understand the importance of doing it.
Absolutely.
Why it matters. So, you know, it's easy to get in a situation or you know, relationship where you just feel such anger or frustration about the other person and vice versa. But quite frankly, everybody's doing the best they can.
Absolutely.
And when they know better, they'll do better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say one quick thing. This
Yeah.
has nothing to do with your book, but just because we're on the conversation, I know there's a lot of married people here. Gina's on here. She's been married for many years, and she's doing good. She's in New York. But I will say this: if you're married I take that back. If you're going through a divorce, or maybe you're a year into your divorce and you're still going through the paperwork and all that stuff, just know that, and especially if kids are involved, and I'm not telling you guys what to do, but I'm telling you this is what I did. A year into therapy and learning about myself and learning my, you know, what my part was, I went and waved the white flag to my ex. I didn't wait for him to do it because I was in unrest. I was uncomfortable that him and I were not talking and we were co-parenting 2 children. So I wanted to feel better by going to him and apologizing and telling him what my part was. And I'll tell you, from all the anger towards him and unrest and just towards him, all of it went away on both sides.
Steep.
Because he was not going to do it. But when I did it, it broke down his wall. So just know, don't wait for the other person. Do it, and I promise you it's going to break your wall and his wall, and all of a sudden now your joy comes back. So I I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just giving you, like, if you I don't know, what's the word?
So good.
It's
so
good if you can get there.
Yeah.
If you can get there.
Forgiveness is for you.
Ooh, forgiveness is for you.
Right?
I love that so
it's
much.
for you, man.
I love that so much.
It's not for the other person. I mean,
not for
it's
the
great.
other
It's like
person.
icing on the cake.
Yes.
But you know, you gotta have the cake first. So.
I love you for
Yeah.
saying that. I'm
Yeah.
stealing that too, damn
Please
it.
do.
Dang it. It's Amazon. Okay, PG. Here we go. So we're number 6.
Number 6. So, you know, there are a few things that I only hint at in the book, and this is sort of like one of them. And I would almost call this the master key, ultimately. You know, when I was young, I had a whole lot of trouble feeling gratitude and like appreciation, right? And so happiness really, you can think of as being just appreciation or gratitude.
Yes.
Another word is maybe love.
Yes.
But they're just synonyms. All these things are just really synonyms. And I had a lot of trouble, and I tried to feel gratitude and appreciation for things that I knew I should feel it for, but I couldn't. Health, running water,
okay.
like working appliances,
Yes.
like a family that loved, all these things. And I couldn't, I don't know why, I just couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So I discovered in that process that doing it that way, trying to force myself to
Yes.
feel something that I didn't authentically feel, was probably a bad idea and
I
a bad
agree.
approach,
I
right?
agree.
So instead, I found that if I could focus on things that I genuinely felt appreciation and gratitude around, it was
good.
way more helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started there, and honestly, it's sometimes the most superficial and shallow thing. Literally, it'd be like, you know, like, oh my gosh, Sally's beautiful, so I'm just gonna look at Sally. That, right, in of
Yeah,
itself,
yeah.
you feel.
I would
just,
be okay with that.
Okay, perfect. That it works,
Just
you know?
saying.
That it works, exactly.
Just saying.
But so the idea there is just to start
Yeah.
with a little list of things that you feel gratitude for and appreciation for. Ideally, start with yourself.
I love that.
Because, you know, happiness is nothing if it's not self-love. Love is
So
nothing
put the
if it's not
mask
self-love.
on yourself, like people say in
Exactly.
the airplane. Get your oxygen on you, and then you can help
Exactly,
others, right?
exactly. But
Okay.
start where it's easy.
Start with Tuesday. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna go to principle number 7. But
Yeah.
before we do that, I'm gonna reset real quick. If you're just joining us, I'm with Rob Mack. He is. I mean, look at him. Come on.
What?
Reason enough to sit here for the whole hour and a half that we're interviewing Rob. He's absolutely beautiful from the inside out. He has this amazing book called Happiness from the Inside Out. It's available on Amazon and also in bookstores near you. And we're going through the 8 principles of happiness from his book. They're all in his book. So if you're listening, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't catch number 1 or number 2. It's all in the book. And also you can go to swaytv.com and go to the replay, and you can watch this all over again. So if you have friends that you're like, oh my gosh, my friend, my uncle, my cousin from New York, he should be here right now listening. Well, you know what? He can watch the replay on swaytv.com, okay? And make sure you check out our carousel. That's where the book is. We also have all kinds of fun things, like my favorite thing of all. You guys I always talk about my massager from what's the name of the company? Zillion. Oh my gosh, Zillion. I'm trying to get on the sponsor me. I can't even remember their name. I'm so sorry, Zillion. Okay. All right. So let's go to. Oh, and by the way, we're giving away 2 books, and this is how you can win in about, I would say, 15 minutes. Producer Andy, in 10 minutes, producer Andy's going to put the number in. You can actually call in. I'm going to ask a question based on our interview, so I hope you're paying attention. It's going to be if you've been here, it's super easy, okay? I promise. And then you can also ask Rob a question live. Come on! Where else can you do that except for right here on Sway TV on Amazon Live?
That's
So
awesome.
be thinking about your questions. And so now we're going to go to principle number 7
Yeah.
in your book.
So, you know, these aren't in order, of course, because
Yes.
I don't remember my book.
That's
that
okay.
good. You know,
Here, we can look at it right now. No,
Let's look
okay,
at it. Let's look at it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, like,
I'll
I
let
would
you
say,
find it.
so let's make sure we covered everything here, right? I would say, adversity. Let's talk about adversity for a second. So we touched on that a little bit earlier.
Okay.
And the one thing that we found, so most of us when we experience adversity or trauma, we think or
Which
expect.
is all of us, probably.
Yes, right?
Yes.
If you lived life and you were
Yeah,
born.
if you're human, you've had adversity.
Yeah,
So
totally.
let's talk about it.
Yeah, seriously. Most of us sort of think about post-traumatic stress disorder, for example, right? And we think about how hard adversity and trauma can be. No question about that. Interestingly enough, and what gets a lot less airtime than post-traumatic stress disorder is post-traumatic growth, right? That most people, in most circumstances, even and especially when they've been through PTSD or they're suffering from
Right.
PTSD, actually experience post-traumatic growth much more consistently and much more often.
I haven't heard that. Though.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a new. Not new,
yeah.
not new. I haven't heard.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
That's
exactly
awesome.
it. It doesn't get as much airtime because
Right.
generally what, bleeds leads, right?
Ooh,
Yeah.
what bleeds leads.
Generally, yeah, it's a
Woo!
tough one, right? Yeah,
Yes.
so post-traumatic growth really is what happens when you face something really challenging or adverse or traumatic in your life, and you have to dig deep just to get through it, just to survive.
Yes.
But what happens is you often don't just bounce back to what you were before, you actually bounce back better, maybe more blissful.
Okay.
Right? And so one of the ways that happens is that you become a lot clearer about what and who truly matters in your life, and you weed out the bad relationships, you strengthen the good ones. The other thing is you finally discover this like resilience that you always had inside and the strength that you didn't realize that you had.
So good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go to our audience a little bit. I'm so sorry, you guys. I love you. You know I'm always here for you. But this interview, I'm like all in with Rob here, and then I get to look at him. I don't want to get my eyes off him because he's so beautiful. But please send your comments. I'm gonna start looking at your comments. Okay, but I hope you guys are listening because I have a question for you. You're gonna call in. We're giving away $2, so we're gonna go to principle number 8, the final principle, and then we'll go into the book a little bit more, and then we're gonna go to our audience.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, this is all a science, right? So happiness from the inside out, and positive psychology. Positive psychology is an Ivy League science that grew out of University of Pennsylvania and Martin Seligman's work. And it's a science, right? Which means there are thousands of studies and surveys and real empirical, time-tested, face-valid data behind all of it, right?
Yes.
But as much as it's a science, it is also an art, which means that you have to take these principles and you can apply them and see if they work for you, but customize it and personalize it for yourself. That's critical, because at the end of the day, you know yourself better than I will ever know you, and you know yourself better than science will ever know you. And so the challenge and the opportunity is to customize everything that I or anybody else says for your own life. And if it doesn't resonate with your own experience, throw it out.
That's good. I heard one time somebody said there's 4 ways that you could be seen.
Oh.
The way you see yourself.
Yep.
The way God sees you,
Ooh.
the way others see you, and the way you think others see you.
Oh, wow.
Bam.
Yes, right?
Right?
Which is why relationships are such a mess.
Yes,
because you got all that going on inside of one relationship. So it's not just 2 people, it's like 29.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, for sure. But somewhere with all of that, because it is important, I think we have blind spots.
Yeah, for sure.
We have blind spots. So I do think that it's important to have people in your life that will tell you the truth. I don't just let people speak into my life. I have, like I said, one person in my life, and my sisters.
Yes.
Probably my older sister more than my younger sisters, but I do love all my sisters. But my best friend, Cindy Diane, 100%, she can say anything to me, and I know that it's coming from a place of authenticity and love.
Yeah.
But it is important to have people in your life, 1 or 2 people that are in your inner circle, that the blind spots that you don't see, that can say, well, I don't know if you even see this.
Yes. So let me say
and my
something to that
therapist
point.
also.
Therapist is,
yes. And my therapist.
Love your therapist.
Yes.
So to that point, which is so incredibly remarkable and insightful, like I love that so much. I really do. and I would say that it's not truth if it's not also loving.
Right.
Okay. And there are ways to say things, okay, that will keep the other person's mind and heart open to receive it, that are just as true, if not more true. So I would encourage people, and this is something I've had to work on my entire life, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So like if you really care about this person, you really feel the need to tell them the truth, please try and say it in a way that keeps their mind and heart open to receive it and apply it and execute against it, right?
You know what? Because there's also those people that want to tell you their truth about you.
Well, yeah, that's the other piece of this. The other piece of this
is... That's not
is,
always your truth about you or anything about you.
Just because it's a thought in your head doesn't make it true.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And remember, it's coming from their perspective too.
That's right.
So it might be jealousy. It might be resentfulness towards you, where they want to try to pull you down. So they're going to pretend to be authentic, to tell you something that they think is true.
Yep.
When it's really coming from a place of not good.
Exactly. No,
I'm sure there's a better word, but...
So this is the challenge. So you just know, this is the challenge.
It's a challenge.
The challenge is that we all think and believe in one universal objective truth. Okay. Now, I do believe in that truth, but I don't think it's something that you can ever put words to or thoughts to. Okay. I think it's so the challenge and the opportunity is not to lean into subjective truths and then project those subjective truths on other people and then get upset when they're not right.
Yes,
like, that's the challenge. So yeah, that's the challenge. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we all exist and live in separate psychological realities.
Yeah.
We all live in a different world.
Yes.
And you have to check your own intention sometimes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Listen, if you're enjoying this conversation, first of all, the most incredible man on the planet, the most gorgeous man on the planet.
I love you.
Is sitting right here next to me. He has this incredible book. It's called Happiness from the Inside Out. He's a celebrity happiness coach, happiness celebrity coach.
Perfect.
He's also an executive coach. If you guys are interested in working with Rob, you can go to robmack.com.
CoachRobMack.com.
CoachRobMack.com. You can also go on his Instagram if you want to see him shirtless.
Oh, there it is.
No, I'm joking, but kind of. So anyway, he's
awesome.
Absolutely wonderful. And if you're interested in coaching with him, he's amazing. Listen, if you're trying to find your happy, this is your man. This is the coach that you need in your life, and he's authentically happy. He's authentically a kind and loving person. I just love him so much. And we're talking about his book, and I still have a few notes.
You are amazing, Sally. I really appreciate.
you.
I genuinely appreciate.
I know you do.
You are
You're so awesome. We just went through the 8 principles of happiness. It's in his book. Make sure you check that out. It's in our carousel. But if you didn't get to see the whole interview, you can go to swaytv.com and go to replays, and you can actually see the interviews. Anyone can see the interviews. So if you know someone that needs this, that maybe is in a down place in their life, something happened, they're going through something right now, and they need a little bit of a lift up, make sure that you refer them to this interview, because I think it'll really help their life right now. Okay.
Yes.
So real quick.
Yeah.
I read in your book that you love Cuban food.
Oh, I do. Yes, I love. Yes.
Okay, you know I'm Puerto Rican, right?
I do know that.
Okay,
you're
you know
Rican.
Puerto Rican food and Cuban food is very similar.
Yes, I sure do.
So if you played your cards right, okay. If you play your cards
If I act right.
If you act right.
Okay. I might get some of that.
You might
some
get.
Cuban food.
Listen, you might get some Puerto Rican food.
That would be amazing. I mean,
I cook authentic Puerto Rican food.
Wow.
And it's very similar to Cuban food. And if you see, I during the pandemic, I created a show called Cool Mom Sally's Cooking Show. So which I might bring here to Amazon. And it's me cooking different things. But one of the things I cook on one of my shows is Puerto Rican food.
Shut up.
So if you want to learn how to cook Puerto Rican food, you can check that out. It's on Facebook.
Now that I know that, I'll show up and I might not leave.
No, but seriously, no, like friend to friend, if
Yeah.
you ever want to come over for Puerto Rican food, I'm happy to cook
I would
it.
love. That's a
Okay,
yes.
so
It's a hard yes.
All right, perfect. So
Yeah.
we'll get together and we'll make some Puerto Rican food. All right.
I'm so down.
All right, cool.
down.
All right, and then also I want to get, because we're going to wrap up, so I just want to, I have a ton of notes, but one of the, we're not going to get to all of it right now. It's fine. We'll have to do part 2.
Part 2.
But you talk about Wizard of Oz versus Hidden Strengths.
Oh, yeah.
Can we go there?
Yeah.
Because when I was 6 years old, that was the first time I ever saw Wizard of Oz, and every single year I would watch The Wizard of Oz, and it's one of my absolute favorite films of all times. My kids love it, so of course I had to go there.
Yeah. Did it freak you out the first time you watched it?
I don't think it did, honestly.
It freaked me out, man.
I don't think it did.
I was
yeah.
the Wicked Witch.
I was all about
Yeah.
Dorothy and
Yeah.
the joy and happiness and her going into another life.
Yes.
Because I will say this, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. You talk about Debbie Downers in your book as well. But I actually was in an orphanage at that time.
You were?
I was.
No way, I didn't know this.
I was 6 years old. My parents were both going through drug rehab, and they put me in a home for kids while my parents were going through drug rehab. So I was 6 years old the first time I watched The Wizard of Oz, and that was my way of leaving where
Holy
I was
smokes.
to go into a whole nother universe.
Well, no wonder you shine
Yeah.
so bright,
Thank you.
Sally. You've been such
you.
incredible adversity in your life, right?
You don't even know. I'm writing a script about my life right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm flying out of town on Friday to finish it, and we're at 81 pages in, so it's going to be a movie.
Holy smokes.
Oh yeah, there's so many things you don't know about me.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's all good. I'm good now. I'm happy and joyful, and I've worked through a lot of it. So anyway,
Yeah. Well,
back to the book.
So I'll say one thing just to that
Yes.
point. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross has some of the most beautiful quotes ever. And one of the things she says is that the most beautiful people she's known have been through the most adversity and trials and tribulations and tragedies.
I'm the poster child
Yes,
for it.
right? And that's created
Yeah.
created a sort of sensitivity about them.
Yeah.
Beautiful people don't just happen, right? Truly beautiful people don't just happen.
Yeah.
And so, to that point, really, that's what the entire story of The Wizard of Oz is really about, right? On one level, it's about leaving home, right? So that you can discover all these innate strengths that
Right.
lie buried inside the people that you come in contact with, but
Right.
also within yourself. And then ultimately coming around to recognize and realize that what you've been searching for your entire life always existed in your own backyard.
That's it.
Right? That it was always in your heart.
It was
or
always in my
inside,
heart, yeah.
Right? And so that's really what the journey of life is about. And
Yeah.
it requires leaving home. It also requires returning to yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say this: I wasn't an orphan. I was living in a home for kids. All the kids' parents were going through drug rehab.
Wow.
So we were separated for a year, my sister and I, from our parents while they were getting clean.
Oh.
So it wasn't an orphanage. Those are my real parents. But just anyway, I don't want.
You know who else has a somewhat similar story? Was Wayne Dyer.
Really?
Wayne Dyer grew up in
I love
orphanages.
Wayne.
Yeah, in foster
It's
homes.
amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like extraordinary mind.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
Holy moly.
he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so let's go back to it, and then
Yes.
we'll end with this, even though I have so many other things I want to talk to you about. We're gonna have to do part 2.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. The sequel.
For real. And maybe even next week.
I'm down. I'm down. You know.
Are you in town?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. So don't
We
say
will
you're
see.
not, because I'll keep you on. So we'll talk.
We
talk.
will see.
Okay, so we're talking about the Wizard of Oz versus where's my notes? Hidden Strengths.
Yes.
Okay, let's go there, and we'll end with that, and then we're gonna have a caller come in. So we'll put the phone number in, and then all right. Here we go.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many things to say about this. The one thing I'll say is this: is that most of us spend our entire lives trying to shore up weaknesses in ourselves. Okay, and that is a formula and an approach that does not work well.
Right.
The most successful and extraordinary companies, organizations, families, and individuals, they don't do that. They focus on the 1 or 2 or 3 signature strengths they have,
Right.
and they leverage them, and they exploit them, and they build on those,
Right.
And that's how you become extraordinary.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. The other part of it is that, sometimes we ask for things in our lives. We want to, have more faith or be more courageous or whatnot. But and as though that's something that we quote unquote need to build, when really it's something that always lies dormant within all of us. And what often happens as a result of asking for that is that you're faced with circumstances that require you to call that strength into action or call it to life. Right. And so that's the
call
other
it in.
Yeah, that's the
Yep.
other piece of it. So in any case, the point is that everything you're looking for is inside of you.
It's inside. The love that you're looking for on the outside is right here. Listen, if you learn to love yourself, it's going to be easier to love others authentically. I really, truly, truly believe that. And loving yourself is not just a cliche. It's a real thing.
Yeah, cliches are cliches for a reason.
That's right. They come from somewhere.
That's right, yeah.
So, all right. So we're gonna give a couple books away. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the easiest question, and if you were paying attention, even if you joined us later because I kept resetting the show, right, you're going to know the answer to this. So, Andy, if we can get the phone number up on the screen, we're going to do this phone call. Okay, there's a number. So, everybody get your phones ready. The first person to call in with the answer. Oh, I need that earpiece. Okay, hang on one second. Give me a second here. Oh, shoot. It's hang on. There it is. All right, so I need to do, am I going to have to put that in? All right. So, first person to call in with the answer to this very simple question.
No, I got it.
All right, we're plugging in the earpiece, and then we're going to ask the question. So while we're doing that, I just want to thank you so much.
Oh, it is my pleasure, and you know what I mean that. It is
I
my
know
pleasure
you
and
do.
privilege. Every time I
Yes.
talk to you, I feel enriched.
Me too.
So thank you for that. Yeah.
I love him.
It's true.
He's so awesome.
It's true.
Okay, so are we both doing it?
If they call.
All right, so you're going to put that
Oh,
in too,
okay.
in case they have a question for you.
Okay.
So if you have a question for Rob about his book, about life coaching, about what celebrities no, just kidding. He can't give that information away.
Yeah.
And by the way, Vanessa Williams forwarded the book. Is she a friend of yours?
She is.
Okay,
She
I've
is.
heard more than that. But
Well,
anyway,
she was more than that.
she was more than
Well, I
that.
should say she was also different than that, right? Like, I don't know if it's more.
Did you want to go
right?
into
My
that?
friend-
Or?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit in the book. So I did a show on the CW called South Beach, and I'm not a particularly good actor. I never claimed to be a good actor, but I, landed this show. So I did a show on the CW, and I played her abusive model boyfriend. Yeah, which was extraordinarily
wow.
uncomfortable. Because at the
Okay.
time she was married to Rick Fox, and he is huge. He was much bigger than me.
He is.
Yeah,
He was a basketball player, right?
Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
basketball
yeah,
player.
yeah. I love
So
Rick Fox.
we just did our scene that day and went
Yeah.
on with our lives. And then 6 months later, I was walking down Lincoln Road in South Beach, and I ran into Vanessa and her daughter, and I just said, "Hey, Vanessa, I don't know if you remember." And she said, "Oh yeah, Rob, I remember from the thing, and you were supposed to be roughing me up and the whole thing." And I said, "Yeah, if you ever want to, get to know Miami a little bit, I'd love to show you around." Yeah. So I took her around. I only had a scooter, so I took her around the scooter. She's super cool.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, and then that led to other things, and
So you guys dated?
Yeah, for about 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rob dated Vanessa. Well, I should have
that's
started the
online.
interview with that juicy
Yeah, I would-
information. What's wrong with me?
I wouldn't have said that if it wasn't already online. So
No, absolutely.
Like,
She's
yeah.
beautiful. I used
Yeah.
to actually, I'm a singer.
Yes,
so I
I
used
do.
to sing her song, the real famous song, all the time because it's amazing.
Yeah.
We're talking about the singer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make
That's
sure.
right.
'cause
Singer, actress,
Van-
Ugly Betty
There's
and-
another Vanessa
Yeah,
Williams. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So, all right. So first person to call in with the answer to this question that I'm going to ask right now, which is a super, super easy question. You guys ready? And then I'll also let you guys ask Rob a question if you have one for him live. So we have to put these in, right? In order for us to hear them? Not yet. Okay. Here's the question. How many principles did we go through from the book
There it is.
of how to be happy? That's the easiest question. If you've been paying attention, it's the easiest question.
Yeah.
First person to call in. First person to call in with the answer. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get any callers. But that was easy, right? That's all we
Yes.
talked about in the freaking interview.
Yes. But you
All
remember
right.
that simple mathematics?
All right, so Andy wants us to ask a quicker, an easier question.
Even
All right,
easier.
here's an easier question.
Yeah.
God, I gotta come up with another
Yeah.
question.
You put it on the spot.
do
Don't
you
feel any
have-
pressure or
do you-
anything.
Okay, here's an easy question. First person. Where is Rob's book available for you to buy?
Oh, there you go.
Bam, let's go.
That
First
is an
person to
easy-
call in.
Yeah.
The phone number is there. Where is Rob's book available for you to buy? First person to call in with the answer gets a copy of the book. We're giving 2 books away, so 2 opportunities to win. And then you can also ask Rob a question live, or me a question live, or producer Andy if you want to ask him a question. So first person to call in, don't be scared. We're just regular people, right?
Yeah, kind of. We're a little scary though.
Are we a little scary?
A little tiny.
Okay, we're a little
Depends.
scary.
Yeah,
but we'll
could
be super friendly with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Ask another question? Oh, ask him a question. Okay, while we're waiting, I'm going to ask Rob another question.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
More
so
pressure.
so we've been talking. Yeah, so we've been texting back and forth because I've been trying to get you on the show for a little bit. You've been in Miami. Are you
Yeah.
moving to Miami?
I don't know. You know, I'm thinking of so I used to do the bi-coastal thing.
Okay.
I might do the bi-coastal thing.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's interesting because Miami is like becoming a new city in so many ways, right? So many tech folks are moving there, and fintech and finance, and
Yeah.
so it's interesting. I think it's exciting to kind of see what's going on there. But you know, I do love LA. I've come to learn to love LA for so many reasons.
And LA loves you.
I appreciate that. I'm going to receive
And
that.
the people of LA love you.
I'm going to receive that. I can
Yeah.
take all the love I can get. So
no,
yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Don't
so think
leave
about it.
us.
Yeah.
Don't leave us.
But you were talking a little bit about Puerto Rico, right?
I
A
am.
place there and-
I believe I'm going to retire in Puerto Rico.
Really?
Yeah. I think when my kids are gone, high school, I'm 65. Hopefully, I'm married. Look at producer Andy's like, really? 65? You're not even going to know me at 65. I'm going to be old. I'm going to have no teeth. You're not going to care about me. So I'm planning on retiring in Puerto Rico probably when I'm around 65.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm married again. Hopefully, he's fine with moving to Puerto Rico. Maybe I'll meet him there because I go every year. So I'm there at least twice a year. I visit my Aunt Nettie, and my best friend Sandy has a place there. So I was going to say, if you ever want to go to Puerto Rico, she's awesome. Like if she's not there because she lives in Chicago, she lets me use her place for free.
Wow.
So no, it's right on the beach.
Aunt Nettie?
It's incredible. No, my best friend Sandy.
Your best friend
But my
Sandy.
Aunt Nettie, here's the cool thing. If you and I were ever to go there, we can go to my Aunt Nettie's house and she'll make us some homemade Puerto Rican
Wow.
food. Oh no, it's
Aunt
a
Nettie
whole
and-
package deal.
they're about to come out
no,
best
no,
friends.
We're in like Flint on
Yeah.
this one. So, all right. So I know a lot of times it's scary to call in. It's a scary thing, right?
Yeah.
It can be scary. So I'll make it easier for you guys because we try to get you guys to call in. But if you're scared, that's fine. So first person to type in the answer of
I want his sister to call in.
can your sister call in?
Give her a phone.
I mean, she's probably watching her kids.
I'm sure she's busy, Andy. Oh, what is that?
I don't know.
Text her.
That's his phone?
Oh, it is my phone. That's
You think she
interesting.
would to call in?
I
mean, that's
would
kind of
imagine.
putting it on the spot, Andy.
For me.
For Andy.
Oh no, she's actually
Lord.
doing a talk right now.
She what?
Doing a talk right now.
She's doing a talk.
Yes. At
Oh,
church.
she's doing a talk.
At
She's
church.
not available at church.
I'll take your mother.
Sorry. He'll take your mother.
She's watching the
You're
babies.
so silly. Okay, first person to type in, because everyone is afraid to call in apparently. We'll go back to the first question. How many principles did we talk about today on the show? First person to type, just type. You don't even have to call in. First person. Let's see. We're going to give you 10 seconds to do that. And if you don't have the answer to that,
That's hilarious.
I'm going to give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. The first person to type in, where is Rob's book available
Here we go.
to purchase? First person. Come on. That's the easiest. That's like me saying, first person to say if Rob is a woman or a man. Come on.
Wow. Truth.
I'm joking. All right.
I
Come
wonder
on.
most days
First person
myself.
to answer. What'd you say?
I said I wonder most days myself.
Oh,
I can
wait.
identify with
Do we
both
need to
divine
talk about
feminine
that?
and
Okay.
divine masculine, right?
All right.
I can identify with
I
both.
mean, do we need to have a whole conversation about that?
We
right now?
can talk
I'm
about
joking,
anything.
I'm
There's
joking.
nothing that makes me
Amazon,
uncomfortable.
Kimberly's our winner.
There we go.
Woo! Kimberly is our winner. So Kimberly, email hello@swaytv.com. Is that right? Producer Andy? Okay, so send an email to hello@swaytv.com and let Andy know if you want the book delivered to your home or if you want it downloaded onto Audible. So that was Kimberly's our winner. Thank you, Kimberly.
Oh, Kimberly.
Congratulations. Do you have a question that you want to ask Rob before we wrap this interview up? You're welcome to do that since you were our winner. And then we're going to give away a second book.
Oh.
And I think you should come
There
up
it
with a
is.
question.
Oh, wow.
No pressure.
I come up with hard questions, though.
No,
But
it
I'll
has
keep
to
it
be
very
easy.
simple. I'll
Okay, keep
very
it simple. And if you're just joining us, we're giving away Rob's book. We just did an amazing interview. If you didn't catch it, go to swaytv.com and go to replays, and you'll see the whole interview there. Anybody can do that. You can invite your friends to do that and be a part of it. Hey, listen, if you're looking for your happiness, this is the best one. Yeah. Kimberly,
Oh,
which
that's
of
a
the
good
eight? She answered the question. She's
I
amazing.
love that one.
Okay, so go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to be honest with you.
So for those of you, oh, by the way, for those because when they do the replay, there's no, the chat's not in there.
Oh.
So for those of you, Kimberly just asked a question. Which of the 8 principles is your favorite? That's your question from Kimberly.
That's a tough one, so I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. So lazy intelligence,
I love that
think
one.
is the I mean, honestly, even if you don't care about happiness,
Yeah.
and you just want to be successful, you want to make money, you want to become famous, like
Right.
just think about that more consistently. Like how can I
Yes.
get equal or better results in any area of my life with less time, energy, and effort? Love that just in general.
So smarter, not harder.
That's right,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
And in terms of actual happiness principles, I would say that based on the book, and I've got another book coming out that is going to share the one I love
Wait a
even
minute.
more.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, Love from the Inside Out.
You didn't even talk
I
about
know,
that.
well,
Come
you know,
on.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
we'll talk about that before
We'll
we
get
end.
to that, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Happiness from the Inside Out, in terms of my favorite principle, I would say that it's probably telling a better feeling story
Yes.
based in truth just to feel better. Like that
I
in of
like that.
itself, like because you have to take this ride called life anyway.
Right,
So you might as
absolutely.
well be your own
Yes,
best friend in the
yes.
journey and try to at least focus on the parts of of your life that you kind of enjoy, you kind of
Yes.
feel appreciation for, and just try to tell a better feeling story based on truth, and trust that it'll eventually lead to more successful outcomes.
I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's amazing. Can you put the phone number back up on the screen, producer Andy? I want to keep it up there just in case somebody's brave enough to call in. If you're watching right now, Kimberly, if you want to call in, I would love to hear your voice. Don't be afraid. We're just here. It's just like pretend we're Regis and Kelly or Kelly and Ryan right now. They have people call in all the time. By the way, Ryan Seacrest is one of my good friends. Actually, he used to be my boyfriend.
What?
True story.
You didn't tell me
Ryan
this.
Seacrest was my boyfriend we dated for
I
like
should be
3-4
interviewing
years.
you.
No, trust me, I got a lot. David Schwimmer. Anyway,
Oh.
we'll get into that later. But Ryan, if you're watching, call me. He's a big celebrity now. But anyway, so if you're willing to call in, listen, call in and you can ask any question. We're about 5 more minutes, I would say, before we end this because we have a big shindig tonight, big premiere of Sway TV. It's going to be amazing. I'm so glad that you're here for that. And then I was going to say, so real quick, I would love to, but watching my kids right now, I wish you two were on all the time.
Kimberly, we will keep you forever.
Maybe we will.
I will keep Kimberly
We
forever.
should do a show together.
We should. I'm so down.
Hey, all right,
We talked
so-
about that before.
I mean, Andy?
Deep dive. We'll do a deep dive.
Deep
We'll
dive.
do an exploratory
Deep
conversation
dive.
about
Okay,
that.
we're going to deep dive into that because I would absolutely love to do a show with
I
you.
love it.
I mean, what?
You're leaving.
She's going to Puerto Rico.
Le-
In like
but I'm 65!
20 years. 25 years.
What is wrong with you?
25 years.
It's 25 years. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. No doubt.
Okay, so all right, so we're giving a second book away and you were going to come up with a question.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
All right. So, the question.
While you're thinking about that, if you're just joining us, I'm with Rob Mack. This is his book, and we're giving this book away right now. And Rob is about to ask the question. So let's go. And don't forget about our carousel. The book is in the carousel, but we also have amazing things like massagers and fryers and Instapots and sheets, bed sheets, and not bed bugs, but bed sheets, and all kinds of fun
It's
stuff.
good. We can keep the bed bugs away.
Keep the bed bugs away. Okay.
So, the question is.
Yes.
Does happiness lead to success, or does success lead to happiness?
Ooh, and there's an answer to that.
There's an answer to that.
Okay.
Scientifically.
So listen, it's a 50-50 here.
Yeah.
So which one do you think it is? You think that's a hard question,
It's a
Andy?
very easy question.
It's very easy.
Just based on the interview alone.
Yeah.
But
that's
statistically,
right.
scientifically.
And you could just guess. You have the 50-50 chance of
Yeah.
getting the answer. And if you
Yeah.
don't get it the first time, you can type it in the second time and then you'll win.
Yeah, and if you're struggling with this one, just think about all the celebrities that you've heard of or you know
Yes.
who may have been suicidal.
Ooh, that's
or maybe
true.
depressed. Or
Yes.
maybe anxious. Or maybe drug abusers
Yes.
or addicts, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. But just think about how
Good
the
hints.
unhappiness that comes with
So
that.
ask it again.
Yeah. So does success lead to lasting and abiding happiness, or does happiness actually lead to success?
Because we did talk about that on the
Right.
show. It's very easy if you think about the question. I know the answer
Yeah.
because it's very easy. So you could say A or B. You don't have to type the whole thing in. So it's A or B. So what is the answer? Who's on? Hello? Where is everybody? Is everybody asleep? Like, what's going on Amazon at almost 3 o'clock? I guess everybody's out to lunch or something.
Maybe I put them to sleep.
You know what? Like, I want to give away a second book, but if you guys don't answer, we'll just give one book away, and I'll take the other.
We could save it
home.
for the sequel,
By the
part
way,
2.
I want you to sign because we have 3 of them here. So I would like for you to
Oh.
sign this one to me,
Yeah.
and I'll give you a Sharpie. Let's do that right now. Do you have a Sharpie? There it is.
Well, it's not going to
Bam.
be as good
There
as
you go.
Ryan Seacrest.
Well, I mean, he
signature.
doesn't have a book now, hey, or does he? I don't know.
I don't know. He's got everything, man. That
He
guy
has everything else, though, right?
It's like
Exactly.
life goals. He's
Yeah.
life goals.
So we want to give a second book away, and actually, if you're just joining us, this is Rob Mack. Make sure that you guys check out our carousel. If you didn't get to see the whole interview is all about happiness and how to find your happiness. He has this amazing book called Happiness from the Inside Out. It's available on Amazon, and we're giving 2 of them away. Kimberly just won 1, and then Rob just asked the question, and if you have the answer and if you put it in the chat or call us, they took the number away, but if they want to call us, they can. Then you can win a book. But I'm gonna give you guys another 2 minutes to answer the question. And if you want us to ask the question again, go ahead and type that in, and we will.
I'm sure I
and
had
then-
teachers like you in school. Can you
Why?
imagine? Give me more time to finish the test.
Oh, I love it.
It was like,
Okay, but while we're waiting for that, I want to hear about your second book. Hello.
oh,
Yeah,
right.
please.
So,
Rob has another book coming out.
yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah, so I applied a lazy, intelligent approach to writing that book, right? Because
Ooh,
it's like
yes.
the whole point of the book is that I want to share what true love is, right? Not, we think about that and we always think instantly about romantic relationships, but there's a deeper love that includes romantic relationships, but also transcends, right? So we can maybe even think about that as spiritual love,
Yes.
right? It's the kind of love that you can feel despite and regardless of how anybody is or isn't showing up for you.
I love that so much.
Right.
And
So-
that's what the book is about.
Yes, and it's just tiny, like short, pithy, punchy little sutras.
Love those.
Like little statements
Yes.
that you can just take, you can read a bite-sized sutra, meditation, and then go about your day.
That's fan. And when is it coming out?
It's
When
coming.
can I have it in my hand,
Yes,
signed?
it's coming out next fall. So
Okay.
2021
21.
fall.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. And then, oh my gosh, I had another question for you. Oh, so you know Tim Story, our mutual
Yeah,
friend?
of course.
Okay. I actually have
Tim
his book up
Story.
here. It's back here behind
Yeah.
here. So Tim Story is a great friend of mine. You guys remember him. I had him on my show.
He's been on Oprah.
He's been on
Soul Sunday.
Oprah. He's been on my show. It's
Yeah.
okay. He was a life coach to like Kanye West and Robert Downey Jr. He's absolutely amazing. He's one of my best friends. I talked to him on the way over here, actually. We talk all the time. We have another show on Facebook called Celebrate Transformation.
Which is amazing.
Thank you. We had Rob on the show. I've actually hosted him on Clubhouse as well. But I was saying all that to say, Tim and I don't know if you know this.
No.
Maybe you do because you've been on our show. We wear the same color on purpose.
I did know this.
Okay,
yes.
so that's a thing that I came up with. We're on season 3 of our show, and every other Thursdays when we shoot our show, I send him a picture of what I'm wearing, and he wears the same color, and he loves it. He gets such a kick out of it, and he always wants to talk about it. He's like, "Look, we match." I'm like, "Listen, everybody already knows we matches. How many times do we have to say that on the show?" So he's like, "Well, come on, tell him the story," and he just gets such a kick out of it. Anyway, so
He's great that way. He's great
this
that way.
right here was not planned
No.
at all. He walked into the studio and I went, "No, you did not."
Yes.
Do you have he must have a
Telepathy.
camera or something. He saw what I was wearing.
It was telepathy.
This
It's
is
telepathy.
incredible. We're
Yeah.
wearing basically the same thing. We both
is-
have black pants on that
it
are
is
very
interesting,
similar
right?
in the way they feel.
It's true.
We're both wearing
I know.
black with red.
How does that happen? Right?
We're meant to be.
I mean, of all the colors,
we're meant
that's
to be.
true.
We're
That's
so
true.
meant to be. Okay, anyway, I'm turning
true.
into. I kind of feel like a stalker now. I
Do
better
you?
stop. Okay.
There's nothing stalker-like about you, Sal. I mean, please.
I love you.
If we
I
could
love you.
all
I
be so
love you.
lucky.
I just love him so much. Oh my gosh. Like, okay, I have dreams about Rob. He doesn't even know. Anyway, I dreamt about you last night.
Did you?
I'm not even joking.
Was I
Rob.
well behaved in the dream, or what was going on?
First of all, I didn't want to wake up. I'll just say that.
Okay. Good. That's a good.
And then we won't go any more into it.
That's a great dream.
It was an amazing dream.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, I'm interviewing him today. That's so weird. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, so
How about-
again, I don't want to sound like a stalker. So
You're
we're
not.
gonna
You are definitely not.
So if you're just joining us, we're going to start wrapping this up. If you have the answer to the question, which apparently you don't because We asked it and nobody's
They
answering.
DM you.
What's happening? I'm trying to give a book away.
Let them DM you
Okay.
or something.
Or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Save it for the next time.
Should we save it for next time?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll save it for next time. We'll give another one away. So Kimberly, your book is coming. We're going to wrap everything up. We have a big shindig tonight. We're so excited about. We're glad that you're here. We have some great people showing up. Tanya Memi's going to be around.
Tanya.
And make sure that you check out our carousel. We have so many beautiful things, including Rob's book called Happiness from the Inside Out. This is available on Amazon, but it's also available in bookstores and the carousel. So make sure you guys, every Wednesday I'm here from 1 to 3. I always have amazing guests, obviously. Hello, I have
Truth.
Rob Mack. And
Facts.
hey, you may see Rob on the couch with me again doing another show. Thank you all for joining me. Make sure that above all, it's all about love, babe. All about love. Make sure you sway and have a great week. We love you all. So make sure we sway.
Oh, what's the sway?
We'll see you next time
Go
on
ahead, Couch
Sally's
Crash.
Book Club. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Make sure you guys follow Sway TV. Follow Sway right here. Ooh, it's this way, sorry. Corey says, thank you, Sway TV. Shakira says, thank you, Sway. Yes, guys, it is so much fun. We love Sway TV.
Talk to all your friends and your family. Let them know about Sway TV.
Enjoy the rest of your day and have a Tambay party.
Thank you, Sway TV.
Amazon Live! Woo!
Such a great time with all of you.
Shop attainment all the time. We in the house, we having fun, we doing the thing, we swaying.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway. Let's sway. Let's sway.
Let's go, let's sway. Stay tuned.